Let's go. So guys, welcome to the third video of this monthly challenge, which I'm doing at the moment. I wonder, again, what is it that I'm going to talk about today? I feel like I kind of out-talked myself in the past 2 days. So my brain will now need to be able to generate more ideas. Like, I thought it's going to be easy. Like, I didn't think if there's going to be any resistance. But I feel like there is right now a certain level of resistance. And maybe in general also, the book I'm reading right now, it's it's Nicholas Taleb, and the book is called Anti-Fragile, and it's extremely boring, like super fucking boring, and it's such a big book. So yeah, but they say that boring books are always like this. If it's like first boring books, books, first boring books in your life are always gonna feel very draining you in a way. For example, right now, all I'm trying to do is not to fall asleep when I'm reading a book. And I think I did progress today. I did not fall asleep. However, I was about to, like several times I was starting to nod my head. So definitely have to survive this, struggle through this for some time until I get past this, because it's inevitable. That's why if any of you also faces the same difficulty, then guys, just know that it's normal and you just have to keep pushing, and it will be much better later on. Well, I'm not sure if it's enough 50 minutes per day for 30 days to gradually change your perception of reading material. However, it will certainly increase your ability to concentrate on boring things, your ability to focus. And what also helps me a lot is that in general, I don't have as much of daily dopamine as many people do nowadays, because I'm not into social media, surprisingly, even though I'm the creator. I'm not consuming. So I'm not a consumer, but a producer. I'm not a haver, but a giver. You know what I mean? And podcasts are actually a great way to just distract yourself from your day and replace the activities which you used to do when you were still in that dopamine era. I'm extremely happy that I was able to cut off this habit. In general in my life, I tend to cut off from certain habits which I find unhealthy. For example, drinking alcohol. I don't. I find it distracting in a way. Of course, sometimes I still enjoy it and I allow it to myself, but it's really rare. For example, the last time I sipped, not even just got drunk, no, just sipped a champagne or maybe a cocktail. It was a few months ago, and it will be a few months more until the next one, which is great. And then there is some more habits which I was able to cut off, and the way I cut them off was extremely brutal. It was in one day, even less. It was in 1 hour, one decision, one dialogue with myself to challenge myself whether I can do that, because I believe all people have it. It's kind of that moment when you start getting a habit of something, but you still tell yourself a story that you're not addicted to it. You're just doing it because you like it, but you're not addicted to it. And I believe there is a certain threshold in this. And below that threshold, you are really not addicted. However, at a certain point of time, after a certain amount of a certain amount of being consumed by this habit or addiction, you cross that threshold, and then it becomes much more difficult for you to escape it, avoid it, stop doing what you are doing, because now you are actually physically addicted to it in a way. And I believe so many people, because for me, I think I was lucky. Again, like everyone says lucky, but I do think I was lucky to, and I don't think it was like, I must honestly, well, the thing is that the way it happened with me is I knew, and by the way, I'm talking about some unhealthy habits, which are the majority of people still do, but it is unhealthy. And I caught myself right on that moment when that threshold was reached. And that moment, I asked myself a question. I keep telling to myself that I am not addicted and I can stop at any given moment. Why am I not stopping yet? Why am I keep doing it? So that just kind of like, what's the word in English? Like, there is a metaphoric phrase which I like, but I don't know, I don't remember it. I'd say that it opened my eyes, and then I realized that I am getting addicted and I need to stop. And if I am what I am, what I'm telling to myself I am, then I need to stop. And my inner belief in myself, in my ability to take control of my own life, was stronger than the addiction. So I'm not talking like some kind of drug addiction or anything, just don't think that. I'm speaking about in general nicotine and alcohol. That was something what I was doing kind of consistent, not consistently, but on a regular basis. Like every weekend drinking, every day probably smoking something. Um, Sometimes even not just nicotine. And then it was a few years ago. Then I remember again I asked all these questions, and I was like, okay, so prove it. Prove that you are what you are saying you are, that you can stop at any given moment. Prove it. Stop now. I'm like shit. Well, fuck that. I stop. And that moment, what helped me to actually stop is to answer someone a question because someone asked me a question, do you smoke? And that was the moment when I thought to myself, do I smoke? Like I couldn't call myself a smoker or a drinker, but I could sometimes smoke some electronic device or a cigarette with my friends. So I couldn't answer with a straight yes or no because I did not want to say yes that I am a smoker because that was never something I would want to align my identity with. I believe because of my previous, in general, my principles, which were built in me throughout my childhood, and then influenced by in the future by my own thoughts and inner intuition, I guess. So I did not want to be accustomed, is the way to say it. There is a right word for it, like not like when you don't want to. Should I can't remember now. Anyway, maybe I could translate it, but my phone is busy, so my iPad. Eh, I can't even remember it on any other language as well. It's the word in English, and I don't think there is the right word for it on Russian, the right exact translation. So yeah, I didn't want to be a smoker, but I was one, and they didn't want to admit it. So instead of admitting that I am a smoker and answering the person with a question, with an answer, with a positive answer that yes, I am, I couldn't. So I wanted to answer with a negative one that I don't. And in order for me to answer with a negative answer, I needed to not be a smoker. So I decided that I stop in that exact moment. So that all happened uh, while a person was waiting for my answer in the text, in the dialogue. And I answered, no, I'm not, in like 5 or 10 minutes, because I stopped in that exact moment. So it was really cool. And then for a whole year, I gave myself a challenge. If I can hold up to a year without doing any of this, by the way, I was around 18 years old, I believe. Maybe, yeah, 18, 19, 19, 20, something like this. And I remember for a whole year, not a single nicotine intake, not a single alcoholic intake, zero, complete zero. And I am so more chilled about it now because I know that I have the power within me to take control over the things I want to have control of. And Dopamine, going back to the topic we started with, dopamine addiction, as many would say, or there is also a popular word for it nowadays, which is doom scrolling, has been influencing me also for some time. I would never think that it would, but actually I became a victim of doom scrolling as well. And I would find myself scrolling for 1 hour straight without any break, just looking for that extra dosage of dopamine, which is enough to keep me waiting, but not enough to satisfy me for the rest of the evening. So I'm just keep myself in that loop, and it keeps me in the loop, and I'm just endlessly scrolling. Yeah, that's such a disaster, especially when you're trying to learn to think independently, to learn for you, to think for yourself, and also understand what is it that you truly want from your life, from yourself, where you want to be in the next several years, what is it that you're willing to achieve, and what activity brings you joy and interest, and what activity are you curious to learn more about, even on your free time. What is it something that you would still be doing, or you would start if you had a limited amount of money or resources? What is something what you would do if you knew that you cannot lose, that you would not fail? What is important to you in life? Are you happy? And for me to answer all of those questions, I really needed to have a clear mind and losing myself in the rabbit hole of social media short form videos was definitely not the right path to take. Mm, even completely the opposite. It's actually something what makes you sometimes not forget those questions, not forget to ask those questions. It actually keeps those questions, but it makes you ignore them. It makes you feel the pain of not answering those questions to yourself. And it keeps you with no action. So it stops you from acting, but it makes you feel the pain of not acting. And it does not resolve the problem. Of course, it won't resolve the problem. So that is when I realized that I can't deal with it anymore. I can't let such a small and thing to influence my life, my the way I feel about myself. I had a thought and I just lost it with because I started to think of the reason why am I speaking so slowly with such a pauses. Why can't I just speak for normal sentences like normal people without making any pauses? Why am I so into making pauses all the time? Why every word has to be followed by 1 2 seconds of pauses? Why can't I just keep speaking and keeping the flow going? Oh man, maybe later. later after I learn to speak and to build conversations, after I'm able to hold long discussions and keep keep the interest going, burning, keep the conversation interesting. All right, and then I'll learn to speak faster. And I believe it starts from thinking faster and then speaking faster. In the end, it's not about the quality, it's not about the quantity, but the quality. So, all right, so back to the topic of dopamine and social media rabbit hole. That, yes, instead of giving you all the answers, what doom scrolling does, and all those fucking annoying videos, which reels, shorts, TikToks, that, oh, I remember the quote, that's the something what the majority does. And if you go check out the description I have to this video, then you'll notice that the explanation why you should never be doing what the average person does, what the majority does. It's I love this quote of, I don't remember unfortunately the guy's name. I know that Chris Williamson's quoted the guy, but I don't know, I don't remember who the guy is. But you don't want to be doing what everyone else is doing, because an average person is obese, divorced, or and not even or and with one less than $1,000 on their bank account. So doing what everyone else does is actually a very terrible idea. And instead, if you don't want to be, these are my thoughts now, which makes sense to have conclude from such a sentence, is that if you want to achieve something better in life and have better results, be happy, be loved and love, have financially freedom to do things, then you need to do something different. As the phrase, another phrase goes, look at what 99% of people are doing and do the opposite. So that was exactly the reason why I quit doom scrolling, why I stopped it. And it's another bad habit of mine, which I was very close to. I was lost in it, to be honest. It wasn't for a long time, frankly. I have to say this. Like many more people are in such worse scenarios than me. But before I finish my photo, I want to check that the video is still there, because I didn't even check it not a single time. Thanks, God, mate. Oh my god. So, by the way, guys, do you think that it will be better if I put it on 0.5? Like, you will see much more probably will see everything what is happening around here in the room, which I don't think is a bad idea. What do you think? I'll try later. No, no. Okay. By the... Oh, shit. Hold on. Don't fall. Guys, hold tight. What I wanted to say is something very important. Something what I'm scared of. Really, that's my fear. Is I fear to lose my identity, yeah, or uniqueness. I'm afraid to just be paying too much attention to what everyone else is doing, and instead of focusing on something I want to do, to start to lose myself in doing something what I think I should be doing based on all those analysis of data, other people, mm, other people's success, and etc. That's why, for example, YouTube, there is so many different ways of how to gain subscribers, how to gain views, how to progress in this field. But there's so many sub niches. For example, I could be doing motivational AI videos. Fucker. I so I so don't want to do it. I don't find this process exciting like at all. So why would I spend my time on it if I'm not even going to enjoy it? If I'm going to do motivational videos, then we will be coming from my heart. It will be the real words, the real emotions, which I'll be sharing with you, and that is completely different, right? So you can also. I remember once I tried to create channels, YouTube channels, with basically just like animals and animal sounds. You'd say, what? Yeah, there is like, apparently there was a course which I was lucky to, at that time I thought lucky to got a free spot. So I was trying to work hard for it. Many people paid big money for it. Like, what guys, like, if you would know what people paid money for, oh my god, that's the fucking worst. Completely different story. So yeah, I enjoy doing this, and this is something that brings me joy. So at the moment I don't have as much opportunity cost. Like my opportunity cost is pretty low. And, as for example from today's podcast which I watched, um, the guys are talking about this idea that the more successful you become, the higher the opportunity cost is, and the more options, like side quests, become available. And it's very important to always keep the vision for yourself, to keep thinking for yourself, never stopping. It's the skill which you need to develop once and for all. It's not like a 1 month challenge. So back to the idea of dopamine, of addiction, I was able to stop it. And so what I did is I deleted YouTube, I deleted Instagram, and it was really a great help to me. It took me 6 months, half a year, to completely overgrow it. Also, the great thing that in between, like instead of, not in between, instead of, not instead, like, yeah, instead, yeah, like instead of, because usually to replace, usually I would be watching reels like when I will be in my room or somewhere on the bus in the metro, and I stopped it. I deleted all right before having my first job here in Dubai. It was the 30th of September. I remember the date. Actually, it was even one day before. It was 29 to 30th, I believe, the day when I stopped all of this, and I deleted all of this. And then on the 1st October, I started my new job. So my whole general daily experience has changed. So it's good to change something when you have a bigger change in front of you, because then it becomes much easier for you to deal with the emotions of the change, because in general everything feels different. So if there is a big wave, it's much easier to wash out something small together with it. I should definitely quote it. That's great. Sounds cool. Um, so also what helped me a lot is that what I wanted to say from the beginning, but instead of doing this, I replaced it with writing my thoughts down, with reading a book. I read a book. I finished actually 2 books. That's really cool. I finished 2 books. Wow, in half a year. I didn't even really notice it, to be honest. I'm just realizing it now that I really did finish 2 books in 6 months. For me, it's considering how like I really like don't read as much. Of course, like if you take a person who never reads 2 books per 6 months, maybe like whoa, that's a good result. But for the person who reads, like, reads, that is not even reading yet. That's just hanging around. So yeah, but still, because I replaced scrolling with reading, I had a different activity to replace the previous one. Of course, it was a bit difficult because it was less dopamine, but it was still interesting. I loved thinking. I loved getting new ideas, developing my consciousness and my mindset. So that was nice. And also, I was hitting the gym, not very consistently like now, but it was much less consistent. At least a few times per week I would go. Maybe some weeks I would be going only once. So yeah, that's not really something I'm proud of, but it's a part of it. I'm proud that I didn't stop completely. So yeah, and the reason I was speaking about habits and dopamine and all of that is actually again coming back to the first idea which we were discussing in this video, is about how boring the book I'm reading now is. And the thing is that the higher your, in general, dopamine levels are, maybe not levels, how intense how much dopamine is there in your surroundings. Mm, you understood the idea. I don't need to go fucking linguistic here. So yeah, depends on how much dopamine you consume on daily basis. It influences directly on the level of boringness you're capable of dealing with. For example, if you take a person who is doom scrolling daily and eating junk food daily and probably jerking off, probably playing games too, shopping for some unnecessary shit, watching a lot of stupid ass videos also on YouTube, um, and drinking, smoking, not going to the gym, not really doing anything, maybe having some kind of work which this person hates, right? And you should make that person to sit down and read a book black and white with no pictures, no graphs, no tables, or maybe to make it even worse, to put some graphs and pie charts there, to make it a fucking statistic um, essay from Harvard, not even Harvard University, some kind of wherever university is, by some kind of written by some nerd professor. He would probably better kill himself than read one page of that book. Like I really don't. I think one page of that book would take at least a day to finish, because that guy or girl, doesn't matter, person, would read one sentence and be like, ugh, I am so bored. Enough. Then walks around, sees the sun, touches the grass, coming back. All right, I'm ready for this. Sitting down, and there is no dopamine, there is no spikes, it's not tasty, it's not making your head go wow, it's complete, like it's such a dopamine less activity to do, because you're not getting any rewards, instant rewards for doing it, and your body is addicted to this kind of routine, daily routine. So that's why it really helps me now that I don't watch, I don't scroll. It really helps me now to eat more difficult books and to do more boring stuff, like something which has a long-term result and a very, very small short-term result. And it also helps me a lot to stay consistent. You know what, actually, let me tidy it up a little for you guys, and I'll, I'll try to film on 05. I think that's enough. Let's see how good or bad it's gonna look later on when I'll be editing it. So here we go. Oh, shoot. Shoot me in the leg. I really don't know what you're guys seeing. Okay, let me try to see what you're seeing by in placing the iPad there, so I can No, sorry for all of this, guys. Okay, so you can, yeah, you see everything kind of from here. You can even see the way I dry my towel on the left. This camera is really good. Like, how fucking. Okay. Because I love to place my hands here and to speak like this. But I didn't want to do it as much because I know that for previous 4 months it would cut my head like here somewhere. So I would always sit back. I think now what actually happens is that this part of my head is longer now because it's extends it. And who cares, right? Like it's more about the conversation than the visuals. I could definitely just be doing audios and probably like I'm sure that okay, I'm not sure 100% confident. Like the results will be a little different, but still the idea is the same, just speaking to myself for 50 minutes. But here the thing is audio tapes, I can't share. Of course I can put them in the background and spin some pictures or make a podcast out of it, but it's not the same, right? Like it's not the same as speaking to a camera. I think what camera does is that it helps me to speak to you, and I feel like I'm speaking to YouTube, to an actual person who mysteriously, for some reason, will watch these long ass videos, which at the moment I really don't think that there is anyone who would do that. Maybe later when I have more subs, more videos, more interesting formats, some nerd, maybe not a nerd, will be actually interested to watch these videos. I think that many people can just click on it and like see the beginning, see the end, and leave. So I think maybe like really like less than 1% of people will actually watch the full thing. Well, anyways, for anyone who is watching, who is that is less than 1% of people, I am really, really grateful to you. You're amazing. Thank you for being, thank you for doing it. Um, Text me, definitely let me know that it's you. And yeah, probably I would be, I don't know how I feel. Maybe I'll feel a little cringe from myself. I'd be like, damn, bro, I made you watch 50 minutes of me speaking. I'm so sorry. Yeah, something like this. But yeah, I can just sit normally. I need to have something in my hands that keeps falling. Either it's a pen or it's a fucking, I don't even know how you call this. But, guys, good for your grip strength, for this muscle here. So I love it. I really love doing this. I remember myself earlier on, after I stopped scrolling, but before I started this, I remember thinking to myself, I think I forgot to finish one part which I started, then I started talking about something else, and then, yeah, I went to check the video, like the format, and then I stopped talking about it. I think I didn't finish my thought. That's funny. It's fucking hilarious, man. I don't remember now. Yeah, so this is something I will try as much as I can to eliminate. This as well. I can't be yawning at my own videos. Like, what the hell? Like, if I'm yawning, then what is the person who's watching my videos is going to be doing? Probably fucking be dead. Even that is less boring at this point. No, of course. Of course. Not that boring. I'm not boring as a deaf person. A little less boring. So, anyway, I keep forgetting stuff. Like, I need some note taker in my head. Or just distract less. So I was speaking about me changing jobs. Not, I remember the thought I wanted to finish about social media and doom scrolling, that it's something what stops you from understanding what you truly want. And after I stopped it, I was actually able to understand what I want. Doing videos, recording shit. Like, I kind of knew it already. No, I didn't. I didn't know. Like, back when I was scrolling, I really didn't know shit. Because after I stopped scrolling, the first thing I did it was trying to make an AI agency with my friend. AI video marketing agency. So didn't I didn't know that I want to be doing YouTube as much. Well, I kind of had with thoughts which were coming and going, which were whispering to me, but again I couldn't hear because my doom scrolling social media noise was so loud that I couldn't hear myself, my intuition whispering to me what I actually want to be doing. So when I stopped it, I was able to finally hear myself, and then I was able to understand the importance of it and the importance of trying to work in this direction, to do something to develop it. So also what helped me, of course, I'll record probably a whole separate video where I talk about the important stuff, what in general, how to get where you want to be, what is needed for you to do. 50 minutes. What is needed for you to do, what is needed for you to accomplish, to what are those daily routines that you need to establish in order for you to get where you want to get, and how to understand where you want to get. Yeah, it will be a whole different video, I think, out of this challenge. I'll actually try to speak once about it on the challenge, one of the challenge videos. It will be my trial where I'll be learning to speak about it, and then I will make a whole different video about it where it will be much shorter, more engaging, more informative. So, yeah, today was a lot about dopamine, social media, scrolling, and decreasing your level of dopamine consumption. Definitely quitting scrolling, quitting other habits which distract you from understanding what you want, from hearing that very quiet voice from within, and learning to work on it and to take daily action in that direction. And that's, for example, how I did it, and I am now a much happier person. I have a much clearer head. I have much more clarity in my thoughts, and I know every day I get to discover some bits of, like, more and more bits of where I see myself and what is it actually that what I want to do in my with my life in the future. And these daily actions really help me a lot to understand it. Without, if I never started this, it would probably be still the same me who would not know what to do, but who would be very anxious about it in the same time. I remember I had big stress levels just because of the thought that I'm willing to do something with my life to become someone, but I'm not doing anything because I don't know who I want to become. And I think I was just ignoring the truth. Again, as I said, social media really does make you ignore the important stuff, the important decisions. It really, really, really increases the threshold of how fast you make the important decisions. All right, so thank you everyone for staying with me through this second video. More videos to come. I already can feel that there was some sort of progress, and I can feel that some incredible things are waiting for me to come and get them. So I'll make sure to never give up and to continue even after this challenge. But first, let's focus on finishing the challenge. Anyway, I hope you all guys also have things to finish, work on them. If you don't, start something, quit, delete, uh, repeat, read, conquer, grow, laugh, choose to be happy, stop scrolling. Cheers.